Hello and welcome to my world in a casual review. And this time around, we're talking about Saints Row. Released in 2022, it is your typical over the top open world sandbox adventure. Now, I understand a lot of folks found this game to be a bit divisive in terms of, oh, we're playing as the boss character is a millennial. They are a someone who just finished their college time in college, and they have student debt loans that they're looking to pay off, which actually makes this game quite topical and quite relevant regarding current trends here in the United States and how the Republican Party is constantly being resistant to student loan forgiveness. So it's a very topical game in terms of just that little aspect of the boss character's origin story within the context of this game's lore. That said, political debates aside, there, the Saints Row 22 I found to be a lot of fun. I had a ton of fun playing it, much the same way I did with Saints Row the Third, Saints Row 4, Gat Out of Hell, and Agents of Mayhem. It's like if I'm having fun, I'm gonna give a game a lot of praise, and I have a lot of praise for Saints Row 22. Um, its character creator is extremely robust, and at the time I was playing it, I would dare say it was actually the best character creator I've seen in any video game that features such a gimmick. And this would include like every single like WWE game, which has had very great character creators going all the way back to what WWF Warzone on the original PlayStation, or Mass Effect has a good character creator, particularly with the Legendary Edition. But Saints Row has always had a very good character creator in terms of, at least going back to Saints Row 2, which is the only thing I have nice to say about that game, actually. But the fact that you have so much freedom to really make the character look the any which way you want, and just have it so expanded upon here in this game with the character um gender identity and how they look visually, in terms of the facial features, the fact you can pitch the various voices up and down. It is really awesome. Again, I have nothing but praise there. Visually, it is a very good looking game. I know the American Southwest style, like Texas, Arizona, New Mexico type location, may not be visually appealing to a lot of people because it's a lot of, well, you're in the middle of a desert. Let's be honest there. You don't have a lot of the big urban style environment that folks will be familiar with Saints Row the Third or Saints Row 4, or even the hellish landscape that is hell in a Gat Out of Hell. But unlike Agents of Mayhem, which was this game's predecessor, the soul in Agents of Mayhem is kind of like small and condensed. It's great is in terms of like horizontal, like just in terms of land area to travel, but it's very tall. A lot of things to explore vertically in that game. Saints Row 22, you have a big open landscape in terms of the actual city and areas to explore around it. There are so many Easter eggs too. You can find the singing bush from the Three Amigos. Matter of fact, there has a little diorama with three dolls dressed up as uh, Lucky Day, Dusty Bottoms, and Ned Nederlander. So you find that you can find the Bill and Ted's phone booth in this game, for example. Matter of fact, the photography and just go around and just being a tourist is actually, you are actually encouraged to go around and explore to find as many of the hidden Easter eggs and references as possible, which come on, when a game is actually encouraging you to do that, it's actually a lot of fun. I mean, like that is one thing that is praised about Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild, and Tears of the Kingdom. It's the fact that you are encouraged to go around to explore and finding Easter eggs or references or things of that sort. So it's like you can't really complain about it in this game when you're praising the exploration aspect in other games. So again, it's like not, big praise here. The controls are as good as they were in other games in the Saints Row franchise, with one slight exception: piloting, particularly piloting aircraft in this game is kind of weird in comparison to earlier games in the Saints Row franchise. And it took me a while to get used to it. I mean, I'm kind of got used to you making full use of the controllers of the various bumper buttons to turn an aircraft, particularly a helicopter, from left to right, and just being limited more to the analog sticks presented a kind of a unique challenge there. I can't really talk about the music in this game because during my playthrough of it, I did not have, this being the era of DMCA's, couldn't really listen to the soundtrack on stream. But looking at the song listing, it wasn't really a genre. There was nothing really there that I would be interested in listening to repeatedly anyway. So there is there is that. It's like I can't really comment on the music, but let's see. We talk about the story, the controls, the visuals. So we kind of covered all the typical stuff one we'll talk about in a review. Now, at the time I'm recording this, June 27th, 2023, I have not played the downloadable content, the expanded story stuff that came out that added new locations and furthering the adventure following, the post-end game aspect of the game yet. But I intend to. I just need to find time in my schedule, in my streaming schedule, to set a night aside to actually do the played the downloadable content. So I'll probably but I'm looking forward to it. I mean, there's no reason for me not to, with how much fun that I had. Um, now that I think about it, in terms of all the fun that I had with it, if there was one, namely a negative aspect, I would have to say the side hustle were kind of like more forced to doing specific activities for specific areas of the map. Like you were kind of locked into doing one type of activity for each area of the map in terms of their respective side hustle locations, and to get 100% completion, control of the in-game world. I did find myself the tediousness of having to do, like, okay, we have one location, they want nothing but looking for specific cars and driving them to certain locations for like the chop shop. Okay, that's great. But you have to unlock each individual piece and area, so you kind of are encouraged or discouraged in a slight way in terms of unlocking everything, because there is a natural order to the evolution of it. Unlike Saints Row the Third and Saints Row 4, where you kind of had like real carte blanche and doing whatever it is you wanted to do from the gate, with more things becoming available as characters join your crew. In the case of this game, the additional activities and things were not were kind of like locked behind a mixture of story progression and actually placing your businesses in and getting them put in place. So it kind of presented a little bit of a slight pacing issue in that regard, but at the same time can't really complain about it too much, because it did allow me to do everything, and to make sure I did everything without forgetting or not or forgetting to do a particular thing. But yeah, so there we go. So on that note, those are my overall thoughts on my review, casual review, off the top of my head, spitballing here, as I like to say, of Saints Row. So, oh, I do actually one thing I want to point out, touch on here is anybody who had took issue with this being a game focused on millennials, particularly if you're saying that you played the original Saints Row game when it came out. Keep in mind that if you were playing the original Saints Row game when it came out, guess what? More likely you're a millennial yourself, just an older millennial, borderline on Generation X, because that would apply to me as well, because I'm 40. All right, so I totally get the story and the things that this game is referencing. It ties more to folks that are like 20 years younger than I am, or actually 15 years younger. Take this base with the student loan debts and a lot of the references here, in terms of like the rough age of the boss character, Eli, and the other companion characters. But go into this game with an open mind and realize that if you're an older gamer, it's not really meant for you, but just have fun with it. So, with that said, we'll wrap this up now, and we'll see what we'll talk about next time in my casual reviews. So, we'll say like, comment, subscribe, but no one actually does that sort of thing in terms of actually following through with those types of requests. Is what it is there. And anyway, we'll see y'all in the next video. Have a good one.